Welcome back to Onorato and Miller. The FireWolves return home this weekend. It's Heroes Night, Marvel Heroes Night. But a really cool thing that the team is doing overall is that you can send local veterans or first responders or even current military to the game for free. You can buy packages online, call the box office or the ticket team at the FireWolves, and they will hook you up some really cool packages that I know we've told you about on News Channel 13. AlbanyFireWolves.com, the best place to get all of that information. And this was an active team before the deadline and at the deadline. Obviously, they need as many wins as they can get, and now they seem to be loaded up for a little bit of a run here in the final month and a half or so of the season. Kyle Jackson's going to play his first home game in Albany. We'll bring him onto the show now. The forward with the FireWolves, who had 5 points in his Albany debut. You come over from San Diego, Kyle, and what we've all learned, if you're a college basketball fan, according to Rebecca Lobo, don't say anything bad about Albany. They'll come after you. But still, I don't know. San Diego to, the wintry Northeast, maybe not as easy to adjust to, but you're from Canada. You're tough. You can handle it. How is the adjustment period been? You haven't played a home game yet in Albany, but new team, new guys to be around. How's it gone so far?
It's been awesome. I think that, I kind of find myself now in this veteran role with a really young team and kind of get this resurgence and youthful energy back into the game that, not that I was missing by any means, but when you're with a lot of young guys, they kind of push that into you. And so I'm excited about it. And that first game was awesome. It was great to just kind of be around those young guys. And offensively, the ball swings really well. It's easy to insert yourself into. I'm just excited to play at home now.
And it was a huge win. You certainly understand what this team needs to do the rest of the way. Look, the good news is not everybody's running away from you here. It's a couple of teams at the top that are entrenched in those positions, but there's a bunch that's still fighting for a playoff spot here. How do you guys feel going forward, what this team might be capable of?
Yeah, welcome to the NLL. It's kind of always been the
crazy.
MO. It's you're never really out of it. It always comes down to the last week of the season, more or less, and that's because there's just so much parity within the league. Nobody's terrible. Nobody's exceptionally better than anybody else. You can win on any given night, and there are no easy games, which means that through and through the league from top to bottom is always competitive.
Did you grow up playing box?
I did. I grew up in Sarnia, Ontario, and kind of just made my ranks up. And this is, I think, like my 8th official year. I've got a heck of a story that over the last couple of years that has allowed me to play and not play and all this other good stuff. But I'm just excited.
Injuries? Not
injuries, more or less just job. I was working at Avon Old Farms, a prep school up in Avon, Connecticut, and took some time off there and just kind of reinserted myself back into the league.
This is what people don't really get, right? You are a professional athlete, and the assumption is, well, he plays lacrosse. That's all he does. Not true for any of the players in this league. And that some of that conversation is for a different time, but it fascinates me how you're able to juggle as much as you guys do. What is it that ultimately, you just continued to feel the pull back? Were you just always looking for the right situation? Talk me through that.
It's kind of funny. I've more or less kind of done it 3 times, almost this retirement phase. Be pulled out of the league, go back in. Be pulled out of the league, go back in. And all for justifiable causes in that I believed was better for my family at the time. But I don't believe that you get these 3 leases on life back into professional sports, let alone the NLL in any capacity. And so now I'm just living this particular phase of life of going, all right, I've done this now multiple times. There's a reason I keep being pulled back in, and I'm just diving full force into it and seeing what that looks like. I've yet to win an NLL championship, and I believe that it could be done with this group, which is why I keep feeling like I'm being sucked back in. And that's what the most intriguing part to me is, that I've lived a lot of different lives at this point now, and the NLL seems to always be calling my name.
you excelled at the outdoor game as well, which is why I assumed you played box growing up. But you excelled in the outdoor game incredibly as well. You left Michigan as the program's all-time leading scorer. Is that correct?
Correct. And then I think that was a short stint at the top of the ranks there. But yeah,
I'm looking at the numbers. What happened? I mean, there was an explosion. You had a very impressive final number, but goals and assists combined. Don't get me wrong. But the guy who holds it now, might be 100 points beyond that. This is a shift in the game, correct?
Absolutely. And when I went to Michigan, we were a club lacrosse turning Division I,
Right.
and I knew that that's exactly what I was getting into. And I knew that in longevity, short longevity, because it's the University of Michigan, I knew that they had flipped the script pretty quickly. And this is exactly what I was hoping would happen when I went there. I was going to be part of a lot of struggles and maybe be one of the better players, but I knew that in a real short time span, there was going to be some exceptional people who came through that were going to blow those numbers out of the water.
Are you a Michigan fan through and through across all sports?
Yeah, I am. I like to keep tabs with it as much as possible. It's hard.
Do you do American football at all?
American football? Yeah, I like just good sports. I'll watch anything. I'm obsessed right now with the PWHL, and I'm obsessed with women's basketball, and I'm obsessed with anything, the NWSL, anything women's sports. Because, like I said, I've got 2 young daughters, and so I've become extremely obsessed with anything women's sports, especially UConn women's basketball. And I know that isn't ideal here, but that it's super close to home, and so our kids that's their number one team. Paige Beckers in UConn basketball.
You're a young guy. You're younger than I am, but I'll still ask you the historical question here. I don't know. I mean, did you ever think you'd see the day, right? Like the explosion of women's sports it's unreal. And it's so good. I don't care if you're male or female, if you can't find an appreciation for the skill level across all female leagues, I don't know, you're just not identifying what talent is, in my opinion. But it is so cool to see the growth and the attention that these sports and these athletes are now getting. You've got to love it as a dad of 2 girls.
I think it's incredible. And like you said, if you don't understand that, then you just don't appreciate hard work, more or less, because they have to put in the same energy and effort that anybody else playing professional sports does. Yeah. And I just love the fact that when my daughters get older, they'll have an opportunity to be a part of something like I had at Michigan, knowing that, maybe it was like the groundwork and it wasn't exceptional, but in a couple of years, look where it's going to go and look what it's going to be. And as a father of girls, like that's what I'm the most excited about, is seeing the opportunity that, growing up within lacrosse, I've always lived on the side of, as we talked about very briefly, you always had to maybe do something else. Lacrosse is in an interesting position where like you can really just do professional lacrosse full time now. And that's what I'm the most intrigued and excited about when my daughters get older, is they're not going to have to do that. Do I want to do the business and then maybe play sports on the weekend? Yeah. It's going to be, hey, do I want to be a professional hockey player, or do I want to be a professional basketball player? And whether they decide to do that or not is beside the point. It's the ability that they do have and the option that they have to just make that decision, justifiably so.
Yeah, the game of lacrosse is obviously growing with the PLL and the NLL having been around as long as the indoor game has been professionally. Okay, what don't we see with the FireWolves? You've been on the inside now for 2 weeks. Sure, the team has been here a handful of years, but if you're on the inside, what don't we see about Coach Clark or the way this thing is run, that gives you belief that this can be the team we all saw last year make it all the way to the finals?
Yeah, I think all you're seeing right now is the youthfulness of the team and understanding that this league, from one year to the next, you could be at the top of the ranks and then you can be at the very depths of the bottom. And it doesn't mean that you're a bad team. You could lose a bunch of 1-goal games, and that puts you, at the top or the bottom very quickly. But what I've seen very quickly in this short time span is that the guys are just eager to be the best that they can possibly be. And we said it really quickly there. You can be a professional lacrosse player. And that's what you're seeing with these guys, is they're not really doing a whole lot of other things, and they're investing all their time into being a pro lacrosse player, which means that they have this eagerness every time that they show up to just be the best lacrosse player that they can be. And then the coaching staff is also young, and they're eager to be the best as well. And they communicate really well. They let you know where you stand. But I think that within all of that, just understanding that I've been on a couple different teams now, and I'm the old guy in the locker room. This is one of the most exciting locker rooms that I've ever been a part of in that brief time span where I could sense it immediately. And then playing after the game, my wife asked me, she's like, well, so what did you think? How was it? And it was so easy to just jump into that lineup and play because the ball swings really well. No one is selfish. They're selfish when they need to be, but at the end of the day, they're a lot of fun to be a part of. And I think that that's what people don't see is just how much fun that youthfulness kind of gives you within the ecosystem of this team.
You came in, and in your first game, you led the team in shots on goal. Dyson and Simmons and Kurtz, and do they give you a hard time about that? Did you have to negotiate the number of shots? Not a lot of balls to go around here.
No, there's not. And that's the funny part. At the end of the game, I was thinking that, but it was weird because I knew that going into this, I'd had a lot of ups and downs, and I sat there at the end of the day going, I have nothing else other than to give my everything here and insert myself into saying, when this game is done, I want to have left it all on the floor and let everybody know this is the player that you traded for, and this is what you're getting. And that's not somebody that's a super selfish player, but at the end of the day, when you look at the shot chart and what was happening, there were good looks, there were good opportunities, but we also moved the ball really well. And I knew that at the end of the game, I was like, yeah, I had a lot of shots and I shot the ball a lot. But it wasn't in this selfish desire to just say, nah, you don't need them. You don't need them. I'm better than you. They just found me. It was kind of how it worked. And that's what happens when you have a great offense who can move the ball really well, but also understanding that I kind of had nothing to lose in that venture. I needed to prove to everybody, this is what you traded for.
I love that. And I've always said there is a difference. And again, people may misidentify, but there's a difference between selfishness and aggressiveness, right? I mean, just because the number of shots may be higher than anybody else's, it means you found yourself in the right position at the right time. You knew when to be aggressive. Our last thing, I'm going to let you run here. Does this trade, it's an easier trip to play home games for you, right? You're in the Northeast anyway. Do you feel like it's given you a new lease in this league and your career?
Absolutely. My goal was always to play till I was 44. I don't know where I came up with that number or why. I'm 31 right now, going to be 32 this year.
Oh, you got a long way to go.
I don't think I'm ready to give it up anytime soon. I want to see the growth of this league and be invested in it while playing. But yeah, the travel definitely makes it easier. And I'm a huge family guy. So the more that my kids can get out to games, I've got another kid that expected in April. So right around the corner here. So the ability for them to just kind of come to games on the weekends and then go home and not have to travel across country, it's going to be a lot easier. But I just like how young the team is. Like that piece of it alone makes me excited, but also makes me want to be a part of this for the long haul. Like I'm not the guy that wants to jump around from team to team and, do one thing here, one thing there. I want to be a part of something great. I want to be a part of something for longevity. And I think that this is the right place to be.
It's been great meeting you and chatting a little bit here, man. Officially welcome to Albany this weekend. You'll hear it from the fans, certainly at MVP Arena. Good luck this Saturday night.
Awesome. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.